Okay, so I thought Claudia, Tenney, and Adam Schiff were the main character in the story when it comes to the alcohol. They weren't. I recently covered both of them in separate videos, and each of them demanded that Canada put the liquor back on the shelves. Let's not forget, one Democrat and one Republican. But wait, there's more. You have this guy here along with an additional 14 more, all from California on both sides of the aisle, demanding that Canada put the California wines back on the shelf. I mean, this has to be one of the worst Brady Bunch grids I've made. But like I said, we're finding out that there's 14 more California members of Congress, Democrats and Republicans, including Nancy Pelosi, all saying the same thing as Adam Schiff and, what's her name, Claudia Tenney. And they complain that removing American wines limits choice in the marketplace. I don't know about you, but it looks like the BC liquor store has a lot of choice. So I don't think Canadians are missing out on much. But this is the verbal diarrhea that we have to deal with from south of the border, and even a blue state. But speaking of diarrhea, the United States has a diarrhea problem right now. I mean, it's kind of ironic. I'm not going to talk about this today, but I thought the title on the right was actually pretty funny because they seem to be like blaming on Taco Bell. Taco Bell doesn't need an outbreak in their lettuce to cause diarrhea. They can do that on their own. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about an article from CBC. And it talks about the 14 California lawmakers who sent the Premier of Quebec a letter. I feel for the Premier of Quebec. I mean, I get a lot of stupid letters as well. And what I usually do, I just delete them. So hopefully the Quebec Premier is doing the same thing. So as always, I'm going to read this out for everyone, especially for those that are just listening or the visually impaired. California Rep. Mike Thompson says it's in the best interest of both Canadians and Californians for Quebec to lift its restrictions on U.S. alcohol sales. Now, who is this Mike Thompson guy? I really don't know, but Google is saying he's an American politician representing California's 4th Congressional District in the House of Representatives. And he's a Democrat. And apparently he knows what's best for Canada. But saying that it's in the best interest of both Canadians and Californians is completely wrong. Because what does Canada actually get if we put the alcohol back on the shelves? Well, we lose our leverage against your country. And I say country, I mean, you can't separate California from the United States. And just because you say you don't agree with your stupid president doesn't make you exempt. But also by putting the liquor back on the shelves, I don't want Canada to cave. Because don't forget, we're reacting to the cause. My God, I've only read one sentence and I'm starting to get worked up already. Anyways, let's move on. California makes the best wine in the world. Oh man, do I gotta stop already? Okay, I gotta comment on that. California, you do not make the best wine in the world. You are not the best country in the world either. And the world doesn't revolve around you. I'm not a huge wine drinker, but whenever I did drink wine, it would not be a United States wine. So I actually want to ask this question to the GTL community who actually does drink wine and like knows more about it than I do. Does California make the best wine in the world? Let me know in the comments below. I have a feeling this article is going to be really tough for me to get through. Anyways, let's keep going. California makes the best wine in the world. You can't see my face right now, but I can't keep a straight face saying that. We have long worked to establish a good trade relationship with our Canadian friends. The Democratic congressman told As It Happens host Neil Coxall. Sorry, I'm bad with names. It is important to us, and it's important to our Canadian neighbors, that they have access to this fine wine. Again, I have to ask, why is it important to Canadians? It's not. And one thing that these lawmakers are not factoring in is that, yes, eventually their wine and alcohol, it will be on our shelves. I mean, maybe 2 years from now or longer than that. But what are these lawmakers going to do when the alcohol is on the shelves and they're not selling? And the reason they won't sell is because Canadians, we have really, really good memories. And for me, I'm going to remember down the road that when the alcohol is back on the shelves and I look at a bottle of your crap-ass wine, I will remember all 14 of these California lawmakers trying to gaslight us into putting the alcohol back on the shelves while doing absolutely nothing about their own country. Except for saying, oh, we don't agree with the president, but, put the alcohol back on the shelves. That will be my constant reminder for the rest of my life on why I shouldn't buy your wine anymore. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with me. And if you agree and you haven't subscribed yet, help out the channel by hitting that subscribe button below. Alright, we can finally move on to the next screenshot. Thompson is one of the 14 California lawmakers from both sides of the aisle who have signed a letter to Quebec's Premier Christine Fréchette, urging her to put U.S. wines and spirits back on the shelves despite Canada's ongoing trade war with the U.S. Fréchette, however, shows no sign to backing down. Well done. In the context of the ongoing trade war, the Premier continues to defend Quebec's economic interests, a spokesperson for Fréchette said. This measure will remain in place as long as the United States maintain these unjustified tariffs. Our government will reevaluate its position when the American administration reverses these measures. And as another Canadian Premier said,
all of them, 100% of the tariffs. No tariffs, no threat of tariffs. Then you can have the booze back.
No Kuzma, no Boozma.
I think many of us Canadians can share the same sentiment as Wab Canoe. Moving on, U.S. wine industry takes a hit while Canada's grows. Several Canadian provincial liquor boards stopped purchasing U.S. alcohol last year in response to the U.S. President Taco Tuesday's tariff and threats of annexation. While Saskatchewan and Alberta have returned American booze to the shelves, major purchasing provinces like Ontario and Quebec are holding firm. Now, I'm actually kind of curious. I mean, Alberta and Saskatchewan, they put the liquor back on the shelves. And I know many people are saying that they're not buying it. But does anybody in the GTL community or listening to this right now, do you actually work for like a liquor store or anything in Alberta and Saskatchewan? If you do, reach out to me because I actually want to kind of get an understanding of, what the status is of the liquor in Alberta and Saskatchewan. Like, does your store have to refill on US booze as often as before? Or are they just not selling? So if anybody knows, please reach out to me. The boycott is having a real impact south of the border. According to trade data from the US Census Bureau, wine exports from the US to Canada dropped 77% by about $343 million US between 2024 and 2025. The Distilled Spirits Council of the United States has said retaliatory bans in Canada led to a 63% decline in US spirits exports to the market in 2025. But Thompson argues the booze ban isn't hurting Taco Tuesday. Ooh, I have a lot to say about that one. The boycott of American products, specifically California wine, is not moving the needle, he said. The only folks who are at a disadvantage are Canadian consumers and California producers. Now, going back to this comment, Thompson argues that the booze ban isn't hurting Taco Tuesday. Where have we heard this before? I swear I must have heard it from somebody else.
And so when people stop coming to Maine, particularly from Canada, from the maritime provinces, they're not hurting Donald Trump. They're not hurting the powers that be in Washington. They're hurting their friends here in Maine, whose businesses thrive and depend on Canadian traffic. And that is disappointing. You're not sending a message to Washington, and you're only hurting your friends and potentially family members who live and work in Maine.
Like, I'm seriously curious. Like, is gaslighting 101 a part of a curriculum in the US schools? Or do they, teach it in university or something? Because this Thompson guy and Governor Mills sound exactly the same. Both repeating the bullshit that we're not hurting Taco Tuesday and we're only hurting our friends, or in Thompson's case, hurting the people of California. Well, Mr. Thompson, I hate to say it, but you know what? California needs to suffer as well. And to be honest, it hurts me to say that because I do have a lot of connections in California. But while most of the people that I know in California did vote for Harris, 6 million Californians didn't, and they voted for Taco Tuesday. Or they voted for that guy that looks like a leather jacket, Robert Kennedy. So California's not innocent in this whole thing. Just because you don't agree with Taco Tuesday doesn't mean you're innocent. Because I'm pretty sure there's got to be people in Napa Valley or wherever your wineries are that voted for Taco Tuesday. If a winery owner or a staff or anybody voted for them, they are part of the problem that you're in right now. You should be getting mad at them, not at us. Thompson and his fellow California Congress members argued that because there's such a huge market for US wine in Quebec, it's in Canada's economic interest to ease restrictions. I really hate it when people tell us what to do. Let me know in the comments below if you're the same way as well. But while the US industry takes a hit, local wine sales are reaping the benefit. Quebec and Ontario wine sales have skyrocketed since the ban went into effect by 70% and 83% respectively. The US products being taken off the shelves is giving consumers a new opportunity to try us. Michael Weisenschen, president and CEO of Ontario Craft Wineries, told CBC News earlier this year. Now, just recently, I did a report on a winery in the Niagara region, and they reported that they're definitely taking advantage of the US booze not being on the shelves.
This vineyard in Jordan on the Niagara Escarpment has seen sales in the LCBO shoot up 600%.
Every dollar that's been spent on an Ontario wine and on a Westcott wine has gone right back into the province of Ontario.
The spike in demand so steep, Westcott's planning an expansion and has planted more vines.
We are leaning into this and expect our business to continue to grow, whether those products come back or not.
Now, if you're Canadian and despite everything that we're going through right now, who would you want to support? Would you want to support Carolyn and her business, or would you want to support the wineries in Napa Valley? I say this because this Thompson guy keeps saying that it's going to be in the benefit of Canadians to put it back on the shelves. Well, to be honest, it sounds like it's better to be off the shelves because the Canadian wineries are taking advantage of it. I mean, 600% increase. That's a lot. Now, we're going to get a list of names in that corrupt Brady Bunch grid that I had earlier. And I'm going to probably butcher some of their names. But you know what?
I don't care.
US lawmakers fighting back. In addition to Thompson, the letter to Fréchette was signed by California Reps Jimmy Panetta, Julie Brownlee, Salud Carbajal, Gil Cineros, Jim Costa, John Garamendi, Jimmy Gomez, Doris Matsui, Dave Min, Kevin Mullen, Republican Reps David Valado, Young Kim, and former Democratic Speaker Nancy Pelosi. But they are not alone in their quest to end the booze ban. Adam Schiff, we already know about this guy, a Democratic senator from California, also wrote to Fréchette last month asking Quebec to lift the restrictions. I am urging the Canadian government to recognize that California doesn't agree with these tariff wars, to lift these restrictions and increase consumer options to strengthen both of our economies, he said on social media. Well, Adam, I am urging you to shut the fuck up. I think Josh and Prof K would be proud of that one. But as I said earlier, just because you don't agree with your Taco Tuesday president doesn't mean you're exempt. You still probably hold your hand to your heart and pledge the allegiance. And you still probably chant USA, USA. The anger that you have towards Canada for pulling the booze should be directed at your president, not us. I know I'm probably going to piss off a lot of Adam Schiff fans saying that, but I don't give a shit. You might think he's one of the good guys, and yeah, he is in the Democratic Party, which I guess is better than the Republicans, but when it comes to this topic here, he's no better than a Republican. Like this Republican hag right here, Claudia Tenney. And it says in the caption, New York Rep. Claudia Tenney has accused Canada of holding U.S. alcohol makers hostage. Well, what about like putting tariffs on the rest of the world? Is that not holding the rest of the world hostage? Or refusing to open a bridge because you guys want more money? I mean, that right there is like extortion, isn't it? I just love it how these Republicans, like, they totally forget that they're the ones that cause all this stuff. They're allowed to do whatever they want. But if we retaliate or we don't, like, back down, then we're the problem. And this is coming from a government official in New York, you know, the blue state. And while there are probably good people in New York, there are plenty of bad ones as well. But not everyone is asking nicely. Republican Claudia Tenney from New York introduced the Combating Attacks on Our National Alcohol Drinks by Allies Act, or Canada Act, like how fucking original, in the House of Representatives to prompt an investigation under Section 301 of the Trade Act in 1974. If that investigation is found unfair practices, the United States could respond with tariffs or other import restrictions. Like, you're not doing that already. Like, it's like having somebody hold a gun to your head, and then they're going to threaten you and say, I'm going to hold another gun to your head. Anyways, Canadian provinces cannot be allowed to hold American wineries, breweries, and distilleries hostage and attempt to ransom them, Tenney said in a news release. Thompson says that when it comes to US-Canada trade war and Taco Tuesday's threat to Canada's sovereignty, California is on Canada's side. The state of California could not be any farther apart from where this president is. We have such an incredibly wonderful relationship with our friends from Canada, he said. Nowhere is that more apparent than with our wine trade. So I have to ask again, is like gaslighting offered in the schooling system? Or is it offered as a university course with like credits? Because everything that Thompson said right here, as a Canadian, it doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care if you're on Canada's side, you're still part of the United States. Because your fellow citizens are the one that caused this problem. And saying we have such an incredibly wonderful relationship with our friends from Canada, it's not we have, it should be we had. Because the relationship that you remember, the Canadians just kind of like doing whatever you wanted, that relationship is over. And it actually really pains me to say this, but I have to say it. Like, fuck off, California. Now, it's not directed to all the people, but your government officials. They are just as bad as Republicans. And if I end up losing my California viewers, then so be it. This was never directed at you. Unless you voted for Taco Tuesday, then I don't even know why you're on my channel. But your state government is doing a lot more damage than good right now. Because your neighbors north of the border, we're watching this, and we're remembering everything that they're saying. And eventually when it comes time for the wine and liquor to come back on the shelves, we will remember what Adam and Claudia said, along with these 14 other Republican and Democratic, I don't even know what you call them, like state officials? I couldn't get all 14 in the picture, there's just too many clowns to put up. But my point is, when the liquor's back on the shelves and I see a US bottle sitting there, I'm gonna walk right past it. Will you buy US alcohol when it's actually put back on the shelves? Let everybody know in the comments below. And if you want to go off and say bad things about these people in my comments, go ahead, I give you the green light. Just don't swear, because like the YouTube like filters might filter it out. To close off this video, I would like to again thank Lorelei for sending this photo of Wolfville in Nova Scotia. Lorelei has sent me photos from all across Canada, and I can't wait to share them with everyone. So thanks again, Lorelei, for sharing this with the community. Alright everyone, that's all I got for this video. And if you're still watching to this point, I really appreciate you staying to the end, because it really does help the algorithm. And it looks like somebody on our Discord server just posted up a video, and I guess Oregon is down 83% when it comes to their wineries. So it looks like I'm going to have to create a video on that one, so stay tuned for that. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international point of view, without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you'll be notified of my future videos. And don't forget to hit the bell icon and select all as well. Now, if you want to see me roast Adam Schiff and Claudia Tenney, check out the videos that are going to show up shortly on your screen. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.